particularly taking this personal because I'm concerned it is my country, my people, your people. Initially, when other countries were added to the ban list, of course, you would sit in your home and you would say, hey, it doesn't matter, it's not me, but hey, this is the future of your children. I never believed that someday Nigeria will be added to that list. And you know, I was watching CNN one day with my little boy, 7-year-old, and he looked at me when he heard that. He said, what does that mean, Mom? Does that mean Nigerians will no longer come to the United States? And I said, yes. He said, why, are we criminals? I said, no, you are not a criminal. Now ask yourself that question. If you don't rise up today to say something as a Nigerian, as an individual, as an organization, whoever you represent, whatever you stand for, tomorrow it could be your country. Nigerians are no criminals. I am not a criminal. I am making this presentation from Delaware. In Delaware alone, we have lots of Nigerians here. We have doctors, we have lawyers, and seated in this amazing room, we have dignitaries, Nigerians represented. We have people married to Nigerians. We have the best doctors in Delaware and Nigerians all over the United States. I cannot continue to give you this portfolio. It's with so much pain in our hearts that we pray that our wonderful presidents, the Democrats, the Republicans, will hear our cry and listen to what we have to say today. So this forum is filled with different countries and Nigerians as well. We have questions. We are super excited to have here someone from Nigeria, someone representing the president of Nigeria, our country, right in the person of Honorable Tolulope Sadipe. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
She's the chairperson for the Committee on Diaspora. What it means is she's actually one of the leaders of the Commission for Diaspora. So she, knows a lot about this and how much we are concerned. So here in Delaware are a few Nigerians gathered together with questions of concern. Now the question is, how do we go from here about our immigration policy? Now, we have lots of people with questions, and hey, our viewers, if you have questions, feel free to email the jemimashow@gmail.com. We'll be able to answer your questions, and feel free to ask any question. And we have another person that will be joining us. Hopefully, she's able to make it. So in the person of Honorable Abike Dabiri. Of course, you all know her. She used to be a journalist, and then, she was a representative, and today she's also one of the chairperson CEO of the Commission Diaspora as well. So we are super excited to have both of them here. Right here, we have this Honorable Secretary, and she is willing and excited to share the same pain with us as we look for a solution for our future. So I want a round of applause for yourself and for the great Honorable. And before we get to our beautiful Honorable right here from Nigeria, I would like to recognize some dignitaries that left their jobs and things that they do to assemble here today. From our community, the Nigerian community, we have here the NCAD. The NCAD stands for the Nigerian Community Association of Delaware. Now, the NCAD is filled with Nigerians, yes, full-blown Nigerians, and we've been working together so long to bring peace and unity and also progress to every Nigerian in Delaware. And represented here, we have some of our top leaders from NCAD, and we will recognize Mrs. Odumosu right here. We have other organizations here that are mixed from the Caribbean, from all other countries of Africa, and we have the DACSC, which is for the Commission, and we have the DAC, and the DAC is the Delaware African Coalition, represented by Kelvin, right here. And then we also have the DACC, which is the Delaware African Caribbean Coalition, represented by Dr. Liu, who is somewhere here, and we also want a round of applause for that commission. We also have represented here the commission signed by the Delaware Governor John Caney, the Delaware African Caribbean. Now, there's a huge difference between the DACSC, the DAC, and the DACC. So this is the Delaware African Caribbean Affairs Commission, and represented here we have Commissioner Lauren Bradley. Now you may wonder why you have all these factions. Yes, it's because Africans, we are passionate about growing Africa, bringing development to Africa, and we all have various ideas and we're very creative people. So these organizations are individual organizations that work together in different factions segment to bring peace, unity, and development from people of the Caribbean and people of African descent. A round of applause for our organization. So we want to welcome our friends from other countries, from Ghana, from Cameroon, Dr. Gomesia, and we want to welcome people from Congo, from every part of Africa, and for our friends from African America, we say welcome, thank you. And for our Caucasian friends and Indians, thank you so much for joining us. So now we will start. Now the question is, where do we go from here, Matt?
Diplomacy.
Okay.
We're gonna have to do a lot of that. But before I answer your question, I need to correct something. I'm a member of the legislature in Nigeria,
Okay.
and I'm the chairperson, like they would say, chairman, although I'm female, of the Diaspora Committee of the House of Representatives.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, back to your question, and I keep saying the word diplomacy. But before I go into detail, I need to mention this. Does everybody here know the name Ted Bundy?
Yes.
Was Ted Bundy American? Is every American Ted Bundy? So how can you put a blanket ban on Nigerians? Everywhere in the world, in every country across the world, there's the good, there's the bad, there's the beautiful, and there's the ugly. So how can you hold the whole nation responsible for a few of the bad and ugly? Nigeria is not a terrorist nation. That is on record, there's no doubt about that. So what has just happened now, I'm still reeling from the shock. I can't understand why this would happen. Ask yourself, let's just imagine a scenario. You just got married to your childhood sweetheart, who happened to be Nigerian. You've been dating for the past 10 years. You've known her all your life. Now, the wedding has been scheduled for May of this year. What happens? She can never join you in America? Take a minute. I want you all to think about the implications of what the President of the United States just did. Nigeria has been a great partner to the United States for centuries. So why now? Why all of a sudden? But like I said earlier on, the only way this will be resolved is through diplomacy, through lobbying. No one can sit back at this point in time. Everybody needs to get involved. This can impact you tomorrow. Yes, today you may not be involved with this, as in the fact that your whole family is here, your grandmother is here, your grandfather is here. Don't look away. You must lobby. Peaceful lobbying. And then on our own end in Nigeria, we will go the diplomacy route.
Awesome. A round of applause for that response. We also would like to ask you this question. What has the presidents of Nigeria and the legislative done regarding this currently?
You know, like everybody knows, we cannot influence the visa policy of any country and demand that visas be given to our people. But all we can do is show them the reasons why they need to turn around, take a step back, and review the policy. But we cannot demand it. We can only request it. So the people, like I said earlier on, because this question is similar to the earlier question, all we can do is diplomacy. Show them the reasons why this has been a wrong decision and get them to try and review the decision by giving them facts and figures. But then the people on this end as well must get involved, make recommendations, go to their congressmen, go to their congresswoman, and try and put pressure from the inside while we put pressure from the outside.
Okay, what, I'm going to rephrase the question maybe so that way, I know for situations like this, in Nigeria, where I come from, they always set up a committee to investigate this and get a solution. Has there been a committee set up by Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari on this issue, and what has the the committee done so far? And as regards to reaching out to the ambassador representing Nigeria here in Washington D.C., and we just would like to know what has been done, because you said for us to reach out to our congressional people, but if everyone is working and it's just everyone individually, is there a committee, someone we could reach out to? Oh, I spoke to Senator Coons and he would like to speak with you. How can I reach this committee? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me clarify something.
Okay.
Like we all know, there are three arms of government. I am on the legislative side of government. So I'm not going to be involved with the committee set up by the presidency. The person that you will be directing that question to would be Honorable Abike Dabiri,
Okay.
because she's part of the executive. What you can ask me would be, what have we done in the legislature to try and influence? But as you know, we can make laws to make life easier for Nigerians in diaspora with regards to Nigeria. But we cannot make laws that will be implemented by the US government.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So the person who can answer the question about what the executive is doing, because I wouldn't want to speak for the executive. I know they are doing something, and they're doing a lot, but I can't speak for the executive.
Thank you
I'm part
so
of the
much.
legislature.
Thank you for your honesty, right? That's why we're here. Okay? So I'm having a good time with her so far, and I know some of you have questions, and I'm sure she'll be able to answer, and the ones she's not able to answer, definitely she will redirect it to the right person. I think that's what I love about her. She will correct you, right? Amazing. So I'm gonna open the floor real quick. We're gonna take a few questions. Feel free, you start by telling us your name, the name of your organization, what you represent, and then your question. So we're gonna start from this side.
I have a question. My name is Oluyomi Odumosu. I'm the president of Nigerian Community Association in Delaware, and I'm glad to be here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this question, but we have so many Nigerians in the diaspora and doing a lot of wonderful things here. And some of us would like to do a lot of wonderful things more in our country, but the environment in that country has made some of us to decide to just stay here. I left Nigeria when I was 18. I'm a grandmother here. Okay, I do go from time to time, but I don't see my children going back there to settle, just because of the situation. What can you take back to President Buhari? Because he's been there for 5 years now, and we have been all concerned about the security in Nigeria. And it doesn't seem to be like anything is being done about it. People go home, people are being killed, people at home are not safe. And this is one of the reasons why everybody wanted to leave Nigeria for a safe place, especially if they have family or relatives in abroad. It's not just in America, they're going to everywhere. But if Nigeria is safe, people would like to stay. It's a very good country, it's a viable country. I go from time to time, and I like what I see, because every time I go, I see improvement. But we still will not pull our roots from here and go back there because of the safety. Is there anything that the president is doing about it that would help?
From where I'm looking in at things, I believe the president is doing a lot. We've had a lot of dialogue. The legislature has been involved. Recently, the legislature requested that the service chiefs resign. And they brought the matter to the president, and he felt this was not the right time for them to resign, because they have put certain things which I'm not free to discuss for security reasons in place. And while they're trying to implement those things, it doesn't make sense for them to step down at that time. So let them finish what they have started, and then we'll have a basis to assess them. And then on another note, I wouldn't say Nigeria is not safe. I live in Nigeria. and I travel a lot within Nigeria. God forbid anything happening, but these things happen everywhere in the world. You could be walking down the street in Brooklyn, you could be walking down the street in Washington, D.C. We've heard about stray bullets hitting people here in America as well. So I would not use the word Nigeria is not safe. Yes, there's the issue of Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria. That is a terrorist organization. Every country all around the world have experienced terrorism. So it's not unique to Nigeria. But as a Nigerian in diaspora, I am sure that you do send remittances back home because you have family back home. You mentioned earlier on that you come to visit, right? So you do still have ties to Nigeria. But you see, when you mentioned earlier on that you don't see your children going back to Nigeria, you don't see your children going back to Nigeria because you haven't given them the roots, the ownership. They haven't been brought up to take ownership of Nigeria, which is what a lot of people who move abroad into diaspora do. I must tell you this. I lived in America for many years myself. So I'm not talking from a position of somebody told me. I'm talking from a position of, I go back to visit friends who stayed back. And they haven't given their children any historical background about Nigeria. So all their children have to look at is all they read on social media, 1, 2. All they have a basis to look at is the more key important thing they say about Africa is that slavery. And that's not what Africa is all about. Do the children who are being brought up here, do they know about the Mali Empire? Do they know about the Oyo Empire? Do they know about the Songhai Empire? Have you given them a sense of pride in Africa? So, let's be sincere. Nigeria won't be the first country where someone is kidnapped. People have been kidnapped in America. But let us really be sincere. I'm not saying Nigeria is perfect. No, we're far from being perfect. But we're evolving. How old is America? How old is Nigeria? We will get there. But we will not get there with the mindset that we're the worst.
No, I do not think so. But what I'm saying is this, and I don't want to get personal. I do give my children, they travel on their own to Nigeria back and forth so that they can assess things for themselves. So they are not babies that you can, spoon feed anymore. But from my personal experience, and I was in Nigeria in November, I just came back in December. So when I say I frequent Nigeria most of the time, I do, and I talk to people. And you hear all kinds of horror stories. Like you said, yes, it's not unique to Nigeria. But where the difference with Nigeria and other countries is when all these things are happening, other countries will take some measures. President Buhari appear to have been sleeping for the past 4 or 5 years because nothing has been done. People are being killed en masse in different communities. It has never addressed it to the country, to the nation. People are being, communities are being wiped out in Benue, Plateau State, in Benue State, in Plateau State. All these things we all read about it. I've had people who have been concerned that actually live in Nigeria that are on the point of being kidnapped, if not for the mercy of God on their life. So we hear so many horror stories that we hear. I'm concerned more about Nigeria because that's where I come from. And I'm very in tune into what's going on in Nigeria. I will not be so in tune into what's going on in other countries. And I'm not saying things are not happening there. But what my concern was, everything we hear happening in Nigeria, we have not had anything that the president is doing about it. For the first 4 years, his first term, nothing was done. He did not even address all the killings that was going on in the north. That's the concern for somebody like us.
Okay, if I may respond to you. You said he has not done anything.
We didn't hear anything in the newspaper.
No, let me ask a question. You said you didn't see it in the newspapers.
No, we didn't.
What country goes out to discuss their security plans or their security initiatives?
Oh, excuse me, but what
There's
I'm
no
talking
country
about
in the world
is this. What
that
I'm
does
talking
that.
about is this. I'm sorry. When people are being killed, when villages were being wiped out, it is up to the president to address the nation. He did not even visit all those places. We were following it. Buhari never visited all those places.
But the vice president visited.
Not
So the
after over 2
executive,
years.
no,
After over 2 years.
but the executive visited. You see, I live in Nigeria, and you see, there's a lot of stuff you see on social media that is recycled information. The same thing happened, that situation that happened that they're showing you in 2000 is something that happened 5 years ago, and then they bring the videos out and they circulate it because you are not present there, you do not know that this is old information you are looking at. The president is indeed doing something about a lot of those things. But I'm not going to come here because even I am not going to be very privy, because I'm a legislator, like I said, to the specifics of security. But no nation sits down and discusses its security with anybody else. So security plans, security initiatives are private information that belongs to the security chiefs and the presidency.
Thank you very much for that, response. Thank you so much, Mrs. Odumosu, for asking that beautiful, honest question. And I could feel, of course, I'm sure the audience, you actually felt, her concerns, which are very legitimate, and which is the concern of every Nigerian in diaspora that wants to go home someday, correct? And I want to thank you, our beautiful honorable, for answering that. That's very diplomatic of you. I must say, I like that response. At first, I was praying in my heart, it's like, oh Lord, do something. But I'm super excited that she responded. But let me say this to add to what she has responded and what your question. Of course, we know in government there are different arms of government. Sometimes the president does something, and for some reason, the media will not carry it. And sometimes the president will do something, send people, there's something they call delegation. Delegates, they represent the president, just like, we have our honorable here who represents them as well. So if you see a delegate from the president cannot be everywhere. I am not defending Muhammadu Buhari, no, but I'm just speaking from my little knowledge of politics and how nations are run, so I would say, I'm sure he's doing something like you say, but we're hoping that, of course, that the insecurity in our beloved country, Nigeria, someday, will be a past tense, correct? So as we proceed, move on, I want us to welcome Honorable Abike Jagger. Excited, and I'll tell you something about her, I'll tell you a little story about her. She'll be shocked to hear. When I was growing up, years back, I'm 32 years old. She's like a mother to me. I used to watch her on NTA. And I watched her growing up, and I said, I want to be just this woman. And so I just want to be, I watch her every time, 9 o'clock, I will watch her all day. She was so beautiful. She was looking way younger, and as well, also looks beautiful at her age right now. So I'm so honored to be, sitting next to her. She's a great woman from Nigeria, and she has represented a lot of people. And, of course, we've been through her bio, and if you're listening, we will, put her bio for you to see the great work that she has done. It's really amazing to have you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
And one of the beautiful things, I was discussing with someone from the diaspora here, and the person said something. Have you ever seen a woman that will say, you know what, I want to step down for others? Never in government. Power intoxicates, and absolute power corrupts, I'm telling you. So for someone to be in power and say, you know what, I think I've had enough. It's time for another woman or another man to step up. That's really amazing. A round of applause for her as well. Young girls like me, young women like me, as a mom of 3, and I had a new baby a few days ago, it's really amazing to be before her. When I was coming, I kissed my baby. I said, you know what? I don't know what your dreams are, but Mama's dream is coming to pass today, because I'm meeting one of them today. So it's amazing. I want to welcome you especially, and we have questions that are concerns of Nigerians here in diaspora. I'm just going to reserve my question because of our time, and I'm going to let other people ask their questions. And our honorable has also answered a couple of them that she referred back to you. Some of the question is go from here. I know. I didn't tell you out.
You asked me an executive question, and I'm in the legislature, so obviously I wouldn't go to that area, so I'll let the expert from the executive answer that one.
And so if you're watching and you're wondering why is this so informal, why are we laughing, because this is a family. We are Nigerians here, and we are pouring out our hearts, and we pray that this meeting will yield something very positive and then turn around the plight of Nigerians in diaspora. And so we'll take another question. This time is going to be from this angle. Please, who has a question for our honorables?
Hello, I'm Lorraine Badley, and I'm on one of the commissioners on the Delaware African and Caribbean Affairs Commission. And so I represent Jamaica as a diaspora for the state of Delaware. So if someone dies, I tell them where to go to the consulate, how to send your body home, and there are other happier things, good things that we do. Also sending medical equipment to Jamaica and doctors that give their time and free, care to Jamaica. One of the things I see when I see something here that I don't like, because America is a place where you can talk and not feel like you're gonna be reprimanded because you gave your opinion. You can use the political climate to contact your senators, your congresspeople, and get them to write on behalf of you to the country that you're having a problem with. So I am one, and then sometimes what I've suggested and I've seen Jamaica do is that we have a sounding board there where there are questions and people who can give their opinions about that particular thing that's happening. So, Jamaica has crime too. and Trump did some, I'm not sure he moved our numbers down, so I'm not sure if it's the same thing like what he did to you, and so, but what we do is together, the diaspora here, and then we're working with, Jamaica. And so I have lobbied on behalf of Jamaica right here in this state and then I was able to get other states to jump in, like senators, Durban, Cory Booker, or Lisa, a congresswoman, and write 5 letters and back it up to another country because of something that was happening there that was not pleasant. So we here as the who are from Africa or from the Caribbean, who have issues in our countries that we are not, and we need help. We can be the fighters for them there, so that's one, and I hope that you have a voice. And there are times if you don't even want your name mentioned, you can still go to your congressman and say, I don't want my name to this, but this is what's happening. So we have that voice. I want to know, are you willing to sit down with other diasporas of different African nations and the Caribbean? And I think we should coexist together more, because our problems are the same, maybe slightly different, but are the same, and then maybe together, because what has happened, I think, with Black people is that sometimes we need to unite and then stay together. And don't be the crab in the barrel pulling the other one down, but be the force and understand that we can criticize each other and not be upset with each other.
Right.
But we can talk, agree to disagree. I do this in my house because I have 5 sons, 9 grandchildren. I may not look it, but I do. And so you have to agree to disagree. So I think that way of speaking and talking, and it's the same way I think, and I want to be that example for my kids. And so I think, I would love to speak to you more about how we could help from the Caribbean, the issues that you're having, that Jamaica could be having. How are you solving it? Is there a sounding board in Africa that we could do that with, and a strong diaspora, Nigerian diaspora? This is Ed, my Nigerian relative. He was married to my husband, so he's an attorney, very very opinionated and strong. He looks quiet now, he's not, and so I can even go to him for some advice and education.
I'm sure you want to respond to that.
Yes. How do we do it?
I was speaking in New York a couple of days ago, And I raised this issue, and I'm going to take us back to that issue.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear the Jewish nation, you know that the Jewish nation is not citizens of just one Jewish country. It is citizens of, no, I should rephrase that. It's Jewish people from different countries who see themselves as one nation. But then, with people of African descent, we see ourselves as the Jamaican, the Barbadian, the Nigerian, the Kenyan. No. We need to begin to see ourselves as one nation, the African nation. And that way, it'll be easier for us to collaborate because we're one nation. So I don't know if that addresses.
Yes.
Just to add to that, and I'll quote Dr. Julius Garvey.
Yes.
Who we just
was
spoke
here.
to. Yes. Well, we were just together. If you were in South Africa, we're in New York. He has this slogan: one nation, one destiny, one voice. And I think we all should key into that.
Right.
And for what you said, now we have a diaspora commission. We have the African Caribbean Commission here. We have you. So I think it's very good for us to work together. That begins from now. And then in New York, we have they formed an association of all consul generals from Africa and the Caribbean. So they are all coming together. They had the first meeting 2 weeks ago, and our consul general is the chairman. It's going to be like you change every quarter. So I think that's a very good point you made. Yes. And like she said, we need to see ourselves as Africans, whether you're from the Caribbean, whether you're an African American. So one nation, one voice, one love, one love, and one destiny.
Thank you, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I know someone, Dr. Oliu had a question earlier.
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
Actually, I have to take a quick run now, but I'll ask my question before going. The basic thing is this: it's like I remember I just talked to you concerning the diaspora coming to do business in Nigeria. I prefer standing because I'm leaving.
Because of the
Oh, okay. Now, the problem is there are a lot of people that are interested in coming to invest in Nigeria.